at the time, they were really starting to push people like Sable on the WWE side of things, and Sonny was coming in, and you guys were kind of the answer to that, where, all the teenage boys, instead of having just having a choice of WWE girls to have a poster of, they had the Nitro girls. So,
yes.
And
it was great. I mean, and we did, we started the whole college tour. We did the frat parties. I mean, we did a lot with that scene, and it really was great. And I can't tell you how many women as well as men were just like, we love you. I mean, because I think the thing that really worked Nitro Girls, and Sable is beautiful and sexy and all of that, but for some people and for some women, that's a threat. That they don't relate with that. It's not a connection thing. When you look at a group of like the Nitro Girls, we were sexy, but yet we were approachable. We weren't too much. We weren't running around in bathing suits and thongs, and so we weren't a threat. But the women dug us just as much as the guys did, and they wanted to get up there and dance with us versus being threatened by it. And I don't want my man watching the show. You know what I mean? So, and they entrusted their kids to us. They loved that their kids loved us. And it was a really. I said it a few weeks ago. I mean, I think it's a great concept. I think it still has a place. It's still a place in wrestling, and it's a shame that the concept, didn't stick as all the changes in the industry, happened. But it was great. It was great while we were there, and it was well loved and received by everybody.
Do you feel that the way that everything kind of worked out in the end, where it seemed like at the end of '99 when they brought you on TV in a different kind of role and having you work matches and things, do you think that the way the Nitro Girls ultimately kind of were the focus on them was taken off, you think that was a bad thing for you guys as a whole for the success of the concept? Hindsight's always 20/20. I think sitting here we could probably say yes. Mm-hmm. But, it was a very interesting time because when you're looking at the end of the day, it's all business, and they're going, hey, we've got to try to make our business survive. And now they were taking these huge hits in the ratings. And, and again, I said this a couple weeks ago, but I really feel if they would have understood that if they would have only stuck with what differentiated them from WWE, they could have stayed ahead. But instead of trying to stay out in front of it and stay innovative and stay different, all of a sudden they tried to play the same game that WWE did. And the whole thing about Turner is that we were under a whole different set of rules, of rules and regulations. Right.
And there were things
standards and practices, to use the exact term.
So that's right. And so we just couldn't play that same game. We just couldn't do it. And so, they did the best that they could. And I mean, I don't think it only hurt the Nitro Girls. I think it hurt the brand and the concept as an entirety. I really do. I mean, and again, it's always easy to say, 10 years later, 8 years later, but I think if they would have just stuck with some of those differentiators, it could have been a different story.
Were you part of a World Wrestling Legends pay-per-view a number of years ago down in Orlando?
Yes, I sure was.
I remembered that you guys kind of came out at the very beginning, and they didn't really mention anybody by name. I think they were worried about copyrights, but
yeah. No, I was there. It was actually myself and Che and Fire and Chiquita. So a little bit of the D5 group, just minus Tigress.
Pretty cool. All righty. I have to give you this word association, and it was somebody who's one of the very few who's come out and been a little bit critical of you guys in the years since the Nitro Girls and since WCW closed. What's your true feelings on Scott Steiner?
Here's the thing about Scott is, bad press is good press. When you're trying to get attention, and that's always been Scott's way. I mean, the whole time when we were all working together, he would just say things. He was supposed to be the bad boy. He was the bad boy persona, and it was always how to try to create conflict. So if you can sometimes in trying to tear others down, it's a temporary way of trying to gain attention to build yourself up. So, it's part of the gimmick. It's part of his shtick. I don't fault him for it. What can I say? That's Scott.
Now, a couple more questions, then we'll let you go because I know you got a busy night and you've got to be exhausted after a day like today.
You guys did the WCW swimsuit video, which was really the first of its kind, and WWE has kind of followed suit, almost doing one almost annually with theirs, with their divas. Do you guys feel that? How did you feel about doing that video?
It's interesting because I had spoken on this also a couple of weeks ago, and the process itself was fantastic. It was great. It was a really, really fun time. What was a shame was what happened in post-production. So, the filming of the calendar, going to the Bahamas, doing the Bruce Cruise, we did an amazing show for the passengers on the ship. It was a really, really cool experience. Then post-production, they actually had Che and myself and Ricky Rackman. We did the original hosting segments for the video. So kind of in and out of each girl's stories and, different commentary and comedy and things like that. And it was a great piece. But, again, at that point, they were trying to compete with what was happening with WWE. And so what came back from corporate was, this does not have enough TNA. So we are going to redo this, and we want you girls to, follow the script. We want you all to act we were actually directed to be very suggestive towards one another, very girl-on-girl friendly. And then not that there's anything wrong with any of that, but it was very scripted of what they wanted us to do. And so it really, it's not anything. I was very proud of the first piece that never made it to the store shelves. And I thought it was a beautiful piece, and it was fun, and it was something that we were all proud of. When we had to go back and redo, it was like, oh dear God, burn this. I don't ever, I'm so embarrassed when somebody tells me, and this, years ago when it had come out, I'll never forget because I live in Atlanta, and I was going out one night, and one of the players, as you're waiting outside, they were playing the video, and I'm walking by and seeing myself in a thong, and I'm just
Yeah, I was about to actually ask you, because you did that, they called it the table dance. I don't think that was really you.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. No.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, and I even thought at the time, well, that's kind of, for WCW, that's a little much.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's, so, again, they were just grasping for straws, trying to make a couple of dollars. It was, and we weren't really in a position at that point with everything that was going on to go, no, we're not doing this. Yeah. We're not doing this, because they're like, great, go, leave. It was kind of that's where it was at. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to close out with just a couple of things. We'll let you plug in just a sec. But the last thing is, as an 80s metalhead, I have to ask you, working alongside the former host of Headbangers Ball, Ricky Rackman, how did you enjoy Ricky?
I loved Ricky. I loved him. I cannot say enough about him. When he was on board with us and we had done our whole spring break tours, I were like, this of Bud. And we all had Nitro Girl names. And as you know, and anybody that we would hang with, we would give everybody their Nitro Girl name. So if they weren't a Nitro Girl, and his Nitro Girl name was Bitter.
Bitter.
Because he was bitter. It was just hilarious. He's just the coolest dude. I really enjoyed our time together, and we were like best buds. So we would hang, we'd have coffee together, we'd talk about life and, just all of it and figure out all the woes of the world and create the solution to world peace all in the power of coffee.
Coffee tends to help. Coffee does tend to help.
It really does.
So where can people keep up with Spice?
Excellent question. There's a couple of places that people can keep up with me. Facebook is always an easy way, and what I would tell anybody to do is if they are sending a friend request, just put a little note so that I know, hey, I'm a fan of your Spice or a friend of yours, an old friend from WCW, anything like that. Feel free. And my name is Melissa Grill. There's not too many Melissa Grills out there, so if you just put in Melissa Grill, you'll probably find me. But it's Melissa Grill Peterson, and so you can connect with me on Facebook. And then I've got a couple of different websites. So there's my Being, BE-ING,
at ning.com. And the best way is for everybody to find me on Facebook, and then I can connect with you, and I can send you all the stuff. You'll see my blogs I put up. You'll see I've got several communities of where I'm constantly putting my videos and my blogs and all sorts of things so you can stay up to date.
Excellent. Well, we can't thank you enough for joining us, and I hope everybody will check you out on there. And for those who are looking for a link, I will post a link when we archive the interview to your Facebook page so people can find you a lot easier.
Thanks, guys. And listen, come out and see us if you can get to Charlotte this weekend, 1 to 4. We're going to be there signing. It's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to it, and we'd love to see as many fans as possible.
Absolutely. Everybody should check it out. NWA Legends Fest put on by Greg Price. He's a great guy, and I think it's going to be a great turnout. And everybody from Sting to you guys, the Nitro Girls, everybody who's been around since the 70s is going to be there, it seems. So
it's going to be a great event. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks for having me, guys, and thanks for excusing my tardiness. I appreciate it.
No problem.